Diagwit. Today on 20 Minutes, we're joined by YouTuber and cultural bridge builder, Oshaberi George. He's been sharing his life here in Japan with viewers around the world. In everything he does, he brings a really great sense of humor, honesty, and curiosity. He's recently just finished the Shikoku 88 Temple Pilgrimage, which is a journey that few people undertake and even fewer people finish. So he's here today to talk to us about how he first got interested in Japan, how his creative journey began, and what living and walking across Japan has taught him. So Oshaberi George, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
What I wanted to ask you first is, how did you first get interested in Japan, and how did that evolve to you moving here and starting a life?
Yeah. So it all started back when I was at secondary school in the UK. I'm originally from London, but my mum and stepdad moved out of London when I was about 10.
Right.
And my dad was always in London. I always had family in London, but I lived in the in a place called Rochester, which is in Kent, just outside of London. When I was in secondary school, when I went on to go to do my A-levels, I went to a grammar school that was it had a Japanese teacher there. And I'd always had like an interest in Japan.
Yeah.
And I've always, but there was never any chances to kind of really learn about Japan or learn Japanese or anything like that. I'd always I grew up watching, there was Japanese anime, everyone watched Pokemon in my age and things like that, and Yu-Gi-Oh! And there was a lot of Japanese kind of culture and influence.
Yeah.
Obviously it was all in English and that, but I always had an interest, but never had the chance. And when I went to this grammar school, I had the chance to kind of, touch on Japanese a little bit. It was more of an after school. I did it once a week.
Yeah.
At the beginning. It wasn't very serious for me at the time. But that was when I first started kind of looking at Japanese, and I went to Japan on holiday for the first time when I was 17, 18, I think, and absolutely loved it. But I hated that I couldn't speak the language. I loved the food, I loved the, all of the, the scenery, just how, I loved everything about Japan.
Yeah.
And but I felt if I can't speak the language, I can't understand or appreciate the real Japan. And so after that holiday, I went back to the UK, and at university, I decided to study Japanese. But Japanese was more of it was more self-taught than I never really bought textbooks.
Yeah.
I wasn't really a study type. It was more of I was just obsessed. It was an obsession and a passion. I think Japanese has definitely been the biggest passion in my life so far. I've never been this, driven towards something before. And so, yeah, that was how it all started.
And now, I mean, you've started YouTube, and
yes,
it's blowing up for you. But I was really surprised. I look back at your first video,
yes,
and it was just 5 months ago.
Yep.
I couldn't believe it. But tell me, how did what sparked your interest or inspired you to start YouTube, and how did this persona of Oshaberi George come about?
Yeah. Well, that's me. So yeah, to answer that last question, how did the Oshaberi George persona come to life? That is just me 24/7, which sounds insane, right? A lot of people because people are oh, is that your character? Did you do that for the videos? I'm no, that's pretty much just how I am all the time.
Unfiltered.
Yeah, well, yeah. People have kind of been telling me for a long time, George, you should do YouTube. And I've just never, I don't know, I don't have any editing skills really. I've never really kind of, I don't know. I also wasn't very kind of I want to get out there and, I want people to, I wasn't that kind. If someone invited me, and this is how it all started. I was invited, and it kind of went from there. People had been telling me for a long time, George, you should probably do YouTube. And this was years back, like more than 10 years ago.
Right.
People have been kind of consistently saying, George, if you did YouTube, it would probably, go really well. And I was like, yeah, but I don't have a camera. I don't know how to edit.
Right.
And also I was working. I was full-time. I've always been like working full-time and had like a pretty hectic schedule. Like it wasn't something that seemed viable to me.
Yeah.
Over the years. And also I'm glad that I've started doing it now because I'm older and I have so much experience. I have so much to talk about now.
Yeah.
And luckily my wife as well was like,
pretty supportive.
she was very supportive. Yeah. Okay. She was like, cause I've done a lot of different jobs throughout my life. I've done a lot of corporate jobs and different things like that. And there's always been a part of me that's like, oh, this isn't really for me.
Yeah.
I don't enjoy sitting in an office all day and staring at a screen.
Yeah.
And being confined. And, obviously in Japan, there's a lot of overtime, the zangyo and stuff like that. And there's always been a part of me that's kind of like, yeah, I've done it. I've done it now. I know I can do it.
Yeah.
But it's not really quite, I've never really been fully, fulfilled and truly happy with a corporate job. And each to their own. I know there's some people that love that stuff and that's for them. And, but that's never really been my thing. And I was always interested in doing something like, not necessarily YouTube, but maybe whether it would be TV or, having some kind of personality.
Yeah.
And kind of using that to do something interesting. I've always wanted to do podcasts. I love podcasts. I religiously listen to a lot of different podcasts, and that's where I get a lot of my information from.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I think that there's probably some good ones that I just haven't found yet. But like in regard to podcasts, I think, English podcasts are at the top easily. There's so many great British podcasts, American podcasts, different podcasts around the world that are really top quality. But I feel like there's not many great Japanese podcasts. And so, me personally, I mean, I'm sure there are that I just don't know about, but like, I always was like, I'd love to do a podcast someday because I love I like the long, deep conversations.
Yeah.
I'm not a 15-second TikTok guy.
Right.
I want to have a deep conversation with someone and really delve into an issue and talk about it. And so I've always wanted to do a podcast in Japanese. So that was something that was always in the back of my mind. But YouTube, I never really honestly thought about it that seriously until just recently.
But speaking of your varied interests, you've literally just finished the Shikoku 88 temple pilgrimage.
Yes.
So could you, one, tell us a little bit about what that is?
Yes.
But then also about what was the most like surprising aspect of that experience for you? Like, was it physical, like a mental or spiritual?
Yeah. So originally it's a pilgrimage for you go around all of the there's 88 Buddhist temples in Shikoku. So there's four prefectures in Shikoku. You start off in Tokushima, is where the first temple is.
Right.
And then technically you're supposed to walk it, but it's over 1,200 kilometers. It's no joke.
Yeah.
So what's that, like just under 1,000 miles, I guess, if for the miles people.
Yeah.
And so it's no joke. And it's not something, I mean, if you wanted to actually walk the whole thing, I mean, you're looking at like a month and a half minimum, really. Like, I think, and you have to like non-stop as well. And I didn't have time. I don't have that much time. So I tried to, the original plan was to do it in just over 2 weeks. That didn't happen because that was, I went with a previous colleague. He's a bit older than me, so he's like a senpai. But he loves mountain climbing and hiking and stuff like that. So he was keen to do it. So we did it together. But our original plan was a bit zealous, to say the least. And you need breaks in between. Like when you're doing like 40, 50,000 steps a day, like it's not just, I mean, if you're just walking on flat land, like it's not too bad. I mean, I walk a lot as well. I love walking and hiking. When I travel the world, I walked a lot as well. no problem with walking, but a lot of the temples are up in the middle of mountains and in the middle of a forest, in the middle of nowhere. And so it's all like, it's not real. You're basically just walking on rocks and like different, you know, there's also, so Ohenro Michi. So like there's an actual, so Ohenro was originally, sorry, I probably should have said this first. So there is a monk, well, Kukai is the name of the monk who originally did that whole pilgrimage and kind of established the temples and things and stuff along the way. So it's basically doing the same pilgrimage as him. And originally, you know, this is for people that kind of, you know, it's more of a spiritual pilgrimage. Like, for example, if there's, you know, if you want to kind of like, maybe something bad has happened in your life and you want to kind of look back on your life or restart or something like that. That wasn't why I did it. Or for example, there's some people that, for example, if they're, someone passed away in their family or someone's sick and they want to go on this pilgrimage and pray for that person or what, you know, there's different, that's the original kind of meaning to that pilgrimage for a lot of people. But for me, the reason I did it was I wanted a new challenge because, as I said, I've traveled to all 47 prefectures. I've pretty much been everywhere, but I was like, what else have I not done yet? You know, what else? Is there something new I can do? A new challenge, a new part of Japan that I can experience that I haven't done before. So I was always interested in it. And timing wise, it was perfect because I've just finished my last job and I'm about to go freelance. So it was perfect timing. The main thing I enjoyed about this trip, because obviously I was praying all the temples. Yeah. And every time I was thinking about, right, what do I want to do this year? What are my goals? What do I want to concentrate on? What's important to me? And that was mainly what I prayed about. And that kind of helped me to kind of, you know, right, this is what I want to do this year. And so it kind of gave me that kind of, you know, the energy. I'm like, right now I know I feel happy with like what I want to achieve this year. Yeah. And it kind of set me up. I feel like I've set myself up now for this year. And so I've since coming back from this trip, I've jammed my schedule way too much. And I'm a bit, you know, I'm a bit sleep deprived and stressed, but I'm like, this is how kind of serious I am about getting things done this year. Yeah. So yeah, I did the full thing. I got, you know, it wasn't just me going to every temple, going right to the entrance, but I've been here and then leaving. I was doing the full thing, the full experience. Right. And cause I was like, that's another thing that I'm very serious about. Like if I want to do something, if I'm going to do something, like I'm fully invested. Right. I'm doing it like properly. I don't like, you know, half-assing things. It's got to be fully, I'm either doing it or I'm not. So, yeah, I mean, despite that, I missed 2 temples because I wasn't, we called the temple. It was like, can we go? And they were like, no. Like, no, don't come. Yeah. They were like, you know, and it wasn't like I had spiked shoes. I didn't have any of the equipment. I wasn't like you know, I was just in trainers and you know, normal. No, I saw the videos. You were just basically I was just basically just looking normal. Yeah. So they were like, no, if you're not like, you don't have any of the kind of equipment and stuff, we highly suggest you do not come today. And we tried again the next day, and again it just wasn't right. The timing wasn't right. So yeah, we did do our best. But yeah, those 2 temples, I will be back to get them. Yeah, and that will be a separate video, I think. But yes, but otherwise, yeah, I pretty much did everything as properly as possible. Yeah. Hopefully I didn't miss anything there.
I'm pretty sure you covered everything. Yeah. But as a content creator in Japan, what has been the most challenging part for you and the biggest joy of integrating into Japanese society?
I really enjoy like the people, look, I have I'm not interested in numbers and money particularly, but I really enjoy how people who have watched my content will reach out to me, whether that's via YouTube or via Instagram, and like they'll really kind of be like, I really enjoyed your video. I really appreciate, you know, what you're saying. Yeah. It's really interesting, or it's really funny, or you know, there's all these different comments I'll get, And it's just really, it's been overwhelmingly positive. Obviously there's, you know, you get the odd negative comment and something you don't want to read, but it's very small. I tend to just brush that off. Like a lot of people who do Instagram or who are like an influencer and stuff, a lot of people, like, they'll really kind of concentrate on the negative stuff. And I'm like, I don't look at that at all. Like I might see it, but I'm like,
don't dwell on it.
Yeah, you don't matter. It doesn't matter. Like I know, like I'm confident. I think that's another thing is because I'm, you know, I don't want to come across as like arrogant, but I am genuinely confident in my experience that I have and what I have to say generally. And so I think that rubs off in my videos. And yeah, I've really enjoyed the overwhelmingly positive reactions from the people that view my content and have seen my collaborations and things like that. A lot of people, I've noticed, like a lot of the comments, even in collaboration videos, if I'm with other people, like there's a lot of people comment about me in a positive manner or a humorous manner or something like that, you know. And I really appreciate that, and it really gives me the motivation to continue, and lets me know that you know that there is like a slight need for, not a need, but like there's a reason. I'm, you know, there's people that are, you know, enjoying what I'm doing, and that really helps me kind of continue to want to do it.
So like having lived here for as long as you have and integrated as well as you have, in your opinion, what do a lot of viewers abroad tend to misunderstand about Japan the most?
I look, to be real, Japan as a holiday destination is amazing. It's the best. I'd say it's probably the best country in the world to have a holiday in. You know, the food is amazing. It's cheap currently. If you're earning in anything that's not yen, you're laughing, because the yen is not great right now, is it? So it's very cheap for foreigners as well. As I said, food is great. It's safe. It's clean. You know, there's 4 seasons. You can enjoy some of the best, if you like skiing and snowboarding, you can have, you know, some of the best ski resorts in the world as well, in Japan as well. You know, it's got if you go down to Okinawa, it's got you got the beautiful crystal clear, you know, waters, and it's more kind of, you know, tropical. It's got everything. And so as a holiday destination, Japan really is amazing. But living and working here is a completely different story. So when I was doing my first domestic sales job, like obviously I had to be in the office before everyone else. Yeah. Because I'm the bottom guy, right? I'm the new guy. I have to be there first. And like most days I didn't go home until the last train home. Right. Sometimes I'd miss the last train home. And that was basically my life for like 2 years. I quit in my second year. I was like, I'm done. I've done it. I know I can do it. And I wasn't enjoying it. I'd get home, I'd pass out, and then I was up again at 6 o'clock in the morning to be back at it. Like it was a long, you know, packed trains, the whole, you know, like we're talking like you can't move type train. This is all pre-COVID, right? So like it's, you know, back when everyone was still actually getting on the train, you know, and it's a bit more chill now, I think. But I did the full Japanese salaryman experience, like everything that, you know. So you know, I'm glad I did it. Don't want to do it again, but I am glad I did it.
With that in mind, then, what advice would you give to people then overseas, you know, who are sort of dreaming about coming to Japan, you know, making content or just living here? Look, there's different looks. So when I first started working in Japan, if I'm honest, so I did that job. I did a few other different jobs before I left to travel the world. Being away, I saw a lot, I experienced a lot, and it was great. But like there was something about Japan that it was like, I have to go back. And so I ended up coming back, and I said to myself I said, right, this time I'm not just going to be like Japanese corporate. I'm going to there's got to be a workplace. There's got to be something in Japan I can do that's more fit to, you know, my skill set, or the kind of work-life balance I want. And so that was when I started really thinking more about, you know, the right workplace for me. And so there are places in Japan. There's a lot of startups. There's foreign companies as well.
that are not as crazy, you know, that aren't like Japanese companies.
Yeah.
But, I mean, they are a little bit. You think, you know, gaisuke, you think foreign company means it'll be all like a foreign,
Yeah.
but it's not. Being in Japan, just even if it's a foreign company, if it's in Japan, there's always going to be a bit of that Japanese corporate side to it.
That is some good advice.
Yes. But, you know, there are a lot of, you know, companies now that have, you know, even Japan recently, there's been a big push towards, you know, work-life balance stuff, and there's been a lot of issues, obviously, with power harassment, and you know, it's in the news a lot over the last few years.
All kinds of harassments you never knew existed.
Oh, you never knew existed. Exactly. There we go. You know, so it's kind of, Japan is slowly starting to clock on that, like, oh, we can't keep up this, you know, post-war hardcore mentality anymore. So Japan, I think, is definitely, it's not as hard as it was. So that's a bit of, you know, peace of mind, I think. So even if you want to work at a Japanese company, it is a little bit more relaxed than it used to be. So it is a little bit easier to go home a little bit earlier than, you know, 11 o'clock at night, for example. But yeah, no, there are options. Just make sure you don't dive into something without really looking into it. Don't just think, oh, a job in Japan, go for it. You know, there are different options, you know, weigh up your options if you can. So, yeah, Japan is definitely getting, it's relaxing in regard to that. So yeah, but there's a lot of people also just want to come over and be content creators, and you can't do that really, because there's no freelance visa. You know, my current status is I have no work restrictions, so I'm now allowed to do it, so I can freelance and I can do what I want. But that's not something you can just get unless you're married. If you get married, then you are free. But yeah, usually you have to get, there's many different visas in Japan. So depending on what you want to do, there'll be a specific visa for that, and then you will be restricted to those activities generally. So that's something you have to be careful with. You know, so once you do get a job, you'll get the visa for that. And when you change jobs, you need to obviously update that. And if you need to change visa, that's something you need to do. So it's quite, and Japan is getting very strict with visas. There's a big move at the moment to make things even more stricter. So yeah, be careful with that would be another bit of advice. You know, make sure that you have the right visa for what you're doing, because if you're not on the right
for it too.
And the money for it, yes, and the money for it, because they're hiking up prices for getting your visa renewed. And the other thing about Japan is, again, how strict it is. If you miss one tax payment, if you miss a medical insurance payment, if there's anything like that on your record, that's it. You will potentially have your next visa denied, or you'll get only a very short visa, or, you know, there's all kinds of repercussions for that. So that's how strict Japan is. So don't mess around in Japan with, like, you know, doing things you're not really supposed to be doing. Pay your taxes, pay whatever needs to be paid on, and put your head down, you know. So yeah, be careful with that would be my advice. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Perfect. Thanks a million for stopping by.
No problem at all.
This has been 20 Minutes with Oshaberi George. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.